90% of the energy comes from the mitochondria. Okay, so the energy of your brain, or the energy actually in your whole body, but 90% of your brain's energy comes from mitochondria. And neurons have hundreds, thousands, even millions of mitochondria each. There are parts of your brain that has 3 million mitochondria in one single cell, right? And the mitochondria is what makes the energy. So imagine how much energy are in those cells. And energy equals thinking speed, memory, mood, and focus when it comes to brain health. When mitochondria slow down, the brain functions do too. Mitochondria control things like neurotransmitters, detox, and inflammation. If energy is low, the brain can't perform no matter how healthy you eat or how many supplements that you take. So some of the symptoms of mitochondria underfunction, so when you don't have enough mitochondria on board, or they're running on low battery, is going to be brain fog, mid-sentence word loss, fatigue despite healthy habits, low resilience to stress, trouble focusing or multitasking, slow recovery after exertion, low motivation or flat mood, forgetfulness, sensitivity to noise or light, poor morning energy crashes in the afternoon. And this is all just brain symptoms, but mitochondria are in all brain cells, or all cells in your body except for the red blood cells. So what affects the mitochondria? So here are 5 hidden drivers that are underpinning or affecting the mitochondria themselves. So we have minerals, membranes, microbiome, methylation, and toxins, and we're going to talk briefly about each one. Oops. So minerals are the spark plugs, or those switches and signals for cellular energy. So minerals activate the enzymes that create ATP. It's the molecule that your cells use for energy. And minerals are so underrated and underutilized, and people don't realize how important that minerals are for your body. Your cells function like tiny batteries, and minerals control their electrical systems. Calcium ion channels regulate communication, inflammation, and mitochondrial permeability. The sodium-potassium pump maintains membrane potential and cellular voltage. Chloride balances hydration and the pH inside the cell. Electrolytes control fluid movement across the membranes. So when we say minerals matter, we don't just mean they help with energy. They literally control how cells talk to each other. Nerve signals are just ions moving across membranes, and brain speed is mineral status. And then we have membranes. Those are the gatekeepers of cellular communication. So cell membranes, including mitochondrial membranes, are made up of phospholipids, which are fats and fatty acids that allow nutrients in and toxins out. They keep the membrane itself nice and flexible. They allow cells to talk to each other quickly and efficiently. So when membranes are healthy and flexible, communication is fast, detox is smooth, and energy flows. When membranes are damaged or stiff, everything slows down. And the mitochondria also have membranes. In fact, they have 2 membranes. So they have this outer membrane right here, and they have the inner membrane, which is in here. And inside the inner membrane is where your ATP, or the energy, is actually produced. Then we have the microbiome. The gut, there's a gut mitochondrial axis. So you might have heard of the gut-brain axis, right? We're going to talk more about that next week. But we have a gut mitochondrial axis. The microbiome sends chemical signals that regulate mitochondrial energy, detox, and inflammation. When it's balanced, you have efficient digestion, strong immune function, calm mood, clear thinking. But when the microbiome is imbalanced, a condition called dysbiosis, it triggers a cascade of inflammation, and the mitochondria react immediately. So the gut produces endotoxins. So there are microbes in the gut. There's good ones and bad ones. And the bad ones produce endotoxins. Those are toxins produced inside your body. And one specific one is called LPS, or lipopolysaccharides. LPS is produced by certain bacteria, and it's normal that it's produced. But when the gut barrier is leaky, which most people are walking around with leaky guts, then that LPS enters the bloodstream, it travels to the brain, and it sends a very loud message to the mitochondria, which is stop producing energy and start producing inflammation. So brain fog is often inflammation that started in the gut, not the brain, more often than not, actually. Okay, then we have methylation. We're talking about those 5 drivers of mitochondria. Methylation is the switch that powers cellular repair, and you might have heard about it. You might be hearing MTHFR, and that's all part of methylation. That's a biochemical process that your body uses to detox, to repair DNA, reduces inflammation, recycle antioxidants, and produce neurotransmitters for mood and memory. Methylation also helps your body make glutathione, which often is called the master antioxidant. Glutathione clears oxidative stress inside the mitochondria. It repairs damaged cell membranes. It recycles other antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, and CoQ10, and it protects neurons from inflammation. And it also helps detoxify chemicals, heavy metals, and mold toxins. So glutathione is really important, okay? When methylation pathways aren't functioning optimally, your brain can't clear toxins efficiently, repair cellular damage, or maintain the chemical balance needed for focus, memory, and mental clarity. And over time, this methylation dysfunction contributes to inflammation, impaired detoxification, and accelerated cognitive decline. And then we have toxins. Toxins, we can consider the sand in those mitochondrial gears. Toxins are anything that puts stress on cellular energy production. Chemicals, heavy metals, plastics, mold, pesticides, fragrances, solvents, oxidized oils. There's so many toxins, EMF. There's so many toxins that are in our environment that you won't even believe that they're making on purpose, okay? And the mitochondria can't repair if the drain is still clogged. Toxins block the enzymes that make ATP, okay, which is that cellular energy. ATP is produced through a series of biochemical steps inside the mitochondria. Remember, inside that inner membrane, each step requires a specific enzyme. So anytime there's a process happening in your body, it requires an enzyme. And toxins are like putting chewing gum inside the gears of the energy machine. And if enzymes can't do their job, you're going to get lower ATP, higher oxidative stress, and more inflammation. So I want you to think of our bodies as that like proverbial bathtub that holds and drains our toxins. Symptoms result when our bathtub is filling up. But more serious symptoms in autoimmunity results when that bathtub overflows. Okay, so if the bathtub is really close to the top, which a lot of us are walking around with very filled bathtubs, it's a lot easier to fix the drain than it is once it's overflowed to mop up the mess. And it is possible to mop up the mess and clean it out and then fix the drain. But once it's overflowed, that's when your symptoms just feel really severe. And again, that's when autoimmunity happens. And everyone tries to mop the floor instead of opening up the drain. So a lot of people just are waiting and then it's overflowed and we're just mopping up and we're not mopping and fixing the drain at the same time. And that's what symptom relief care is, right? That's what medication is. Medication is just mopping up the mess. And when these 5 drivers impair your mitochondria, your cells can't produce energy efficiently. And when your brain cells are starving for energy, your body launches an inflammatory response to try to fix the problem. And that's called neuroinflammation, and it's making everything worse.